Our Lord and Savior, that's right, Obsidian Ant, who saved me from being canceled on YouTube because of corpo moves, has a video here entitled StarField, the Price of Exclusivity. I can hear him say it now perfectly in my ears. Our Lord and Savior says exclusivity. Let's listen and hear what he has to say.
Millions of copies of lost sales. That's what Microsoft feel about keeping StarField exclusive and away from the PlayStation. We've also discovered how many stakes it's going to cost to buy a StarField spaceship. And additionally, an intrepid fan has created a StarField spaceship already. So let's get into all of that, and we'll start with the price of spaceships. Interestingly, some people feel that this is indicative of a rather damaged economy within StarField.
Bethesda moves.
I don't think so, not too much, but I'll give you my reasons why on that in just a moment. So thanks to PC Gamer here, we got a bit of insight as to what a spaceship may cost in relation to other items. This information obviously was found from StarField's Deep Dive, the Bethesda showcase, and it comes from such screenshots as this. We can see trilobytes are valued at 740 credits. But if we go back to the PC Gamer website, they found that a patty melt is 295 credits, and that gives you just 15 health points recovery. So one patty melt here, sandwich, 54 sandwiches is equivalent to a spaceship, which is priced at 15,950 credits. So that means
I see some wrong maths on that. I'm not a math genius, but 54 sandwiches. If the real world worked like that, man, woo, I'd be living real comfy right now. 54 sandwiches equal to your spaceship. Wow, there's some wrong maths involved.
Either these sandwiches are extremely expensive, or the spaceships, the starships, very, very cheap. Now, I mentioned steaks earlier in the video. How does starships compare to steaks? Well, it turns out that 48 steaks is the equivalent of a starship. Interestingly, that prices a steak at roughly the same as a sandwich, doesn't it?
I love him. I love him, man. I love him. I love him. I love him.
I'd like to know where these steaks come from. But 98 orange juice cartons and
for
210
sure,
slices of toast, all equivalent to a single spaceship. Very, very strange. Now, some people have been complaining that this is, like I say, indicative of a messed up economy. Personally, I don't really have any issue with that because this is a single player game. It's not a multiplayer game. Whilst multiplayer games do still need a good economy.
You know, he is absolutely correct. Like, this is the one reason why I'm not super into these solo games like this. You know, I'm looking forward to StarField, but, you know, Bethesda can make a good, decent game. I've played many titles by Bethesda, but like if you don't have the MMO element, you're not having a true economy. Like, at least one that I can get in love with, that I can be immersed in. I really love good economic gameplay in my games, and generally speaking, I can only find those types of economies in an MMO type sandbox with real demand.
Economy, and it needs to be relatively well balanced. It's not as
if they mod this like they do with Skyrim, you could probably, you know what I'm saying, Red? Like there could be a huge modding community in this, just like Skyrim has. I mean, look at the longevity of Skyrim, for God's sake. We just got done watching a Krusty video who focuses on Skyrim still, and it's still a very vibrant community. I think you're always going to have that with most Bethesda games, but yeah, I mean, I would hope that there's longer shelf life than a few weeks. I think there will be, but you're on the right track, Red Bear, where I think that there will be a death to it eventually.
Imperative as it would be in an MMO.
They don't have the longevities of MMOs.
And this also, keep in mind that there will be other factors involved in progressing through the game. Bethesda have said as much. Improving your ship and building your bases. This is going to be mid-game to late-game.
Not like our community, you know what I'm saying?
Likely that it won't be all dependent on
credits,
but rather other resources as well. At any rate, a rather fun look at the price of things in, well, the pre-release footage at least, of StarField. Now moving on to something a little bit more serious, this comes from the recent case between Microsoft and the FTC over in America regarding the Microsoft merger or the purchase of Activision Blizzard. Now what's been revealed in relation to StarField is that the Xbox CFO, Tim Stewart, at least according to the Game Rant website, a document detailing testimony from Xbox CFO Tim Stewart provides some insight into just how important exclusivity is for Xbox and what it actually cost them. Well, it turns out that
they need that exclusivity. Microsoft's dealing with Sony, and they want to make sure they got exclusivity on Xbox. Microsoft wants to like corner market and start doing what Sony's doing with PlayStation, man.
Well, it turns out that keeping two big games away from the PlayStation, that is StarField as well as the Indiana Jones game, is potentially costing Microsoft 10 million lost sales.
But they might be losing the sales, but these corpos are going at it now. I mean, Sony's proven that it's a successful model by making their games exclusive with many titles. They want to be that way because they want to be the only one. They want to be the one and only. They want to crush competition. It's exactly what Microsoft's going to do. You're going to see these big corpo moves, and you're starting to see the division now. You're starting to see like boom, Microsoft adopting the same strategy as Sony. It was inevitable. It was inevitable.
That's a huge chunk of change. And it really does reflect.
They're going for the fences. They're going for the fences
by keeping the game exclusive. Because
I mean, it's kind of silly to me or most gamers to think that there's going to be only one, that they're going to crush competition. But I mean, look at everything that's happened in the internet space in terms of just e-commerce with Amazon, how they completely wrecked everyone. Mom and pops, they're gone, man. And now it's just the big corpos going at it against each other. It's really interesting times.
Yeah, 10 million copies of any game or any two games is...
We all want them on multiple platforms, by the way. You know, like gamers do want them on every single... I get so pissed when it's just like a Sony title that's on PlayStation. I get so upset when they do those types of moves. I don't think it's a popular way to go about running the business, but these corpos, they want to do the exclusivity, man.
Well, not many games reach those type of numbers, do they? It really does seem to prove that Microsoft...
And what Obsidian's saying here is correct, man. Like, you know, it's like short-term, they're cutting their nose to spite their face, but they're going for the fences. They're going for long-term, and they're battling against Sony.
Feel so much of their profits come from Xbox Game Pass as well as cloud gaming and maybe some other services.
Totally agree, bro.
Well.
Totally agree.
Now, of course, we do know that Microsoft are planning on keeping Call of Duty on the PlayStation. They've signed a 10-year agreement with Sony on that. What this means for exclusivity as a whole, though, we'll have to see over the coming months and the coming years, won't we? Now, one other thing I wanted to look at here was this really nice Reddit thread. This was posted by It's All the Pixels. And what we see here is a custom ship that has been built in Blender. This is, as you can see, it's very much like a ship that fits in StarField. It's if I was told that this was a StarField ship, I would 100% believe that. Just look at the detail here. There's a few different screenshots here. Nice up closer detail.
Loving the comments. Loving the comments in chat.
Design as well. That seems to be perfectly in keeping with what we've seen so far in StarField. Now I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that the It's All Pixels has copied the designs from the StarField showcase, or else made some very similar modular designs as well, and then assembled all the designs together.
It's pretty cool.
And you can see a little character down the back there just to give us a sense of scale. So it's very likely that one of the big deals about StarField is going to be people customizing and building their own ships. In fact, it's something I'm personally really looking forward to.
Very cool feature.
Hopefully, StarField and Bethesda also have
an option video right after this about it.
Export these ships so that people can import these designs into their game. Yeah, looking forward to seeing some rather impressive spaceships. So there we have it, a few StarField related details this week. Do let me know what you think about.
That's cool. That's cool. Let's watch the next one. I think also from Obsidian Ant, where we're talking about StarField's shipbuilder. So let's get right into it from our Lord and Savior again.
There's a scene in the StarField showcase where we see an 80s themed Optimus Prime styled spaceship. But what if you wanted to create something even more outlandish? Well, StarField's producer, Jamie Mallory, has confirmed that she has created a sandwich-inspired starship. And here's a few concepts of what that may look like. Now, of course, this whole idea is extremely crazy, a little bit out there, especially for people who want a serious-based space game. Yet, one thing that we should all take away from this is what it indicates, what it says about the sheer power of StarField's shipbuilder. It seems to suggest that, for the most part, players are going to be able to create almost any ship design they can think of.
Get ready for the giant penis ships. Get ready for them, dudes.
Whilst, of course, this is going to be limited in appearance to the modules that are available within game, over time this is likely to change as modders get their hands on the game and introduce a whole variety of different ship parts and ship components. In short, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that players will be able to create any ship they can envision, and this means the ship of their dreams are also any ship from fiction. Here's a few concepts, a few random ideas that I'd like to see myself. Of course, this would be limited in scope by the parts that are available in the game, but these serve as a rough idea.
These character models, man, like
Be limited
what
in
the
scope
F?
by the parts
Look
that
at
are
this.
available in the game,
Hold on a
but
second.
these serve as a rough.
Look at these character models, man. What is going on? It's so bad.
Shame.
It's so
Shame.
bad on another level,
Shame.
man. This like looks like 2002. It's so bad. Like, I don't know how you can look at it and say anything good, at least in the respect of this. I mean, like, I like the fact that they're customizing ships and able to, like, you're able to do that. Kudos to them. I think that's awesome. But then you'd, like, look at the character models. They're horrible. Like, absolutely shameful. Shameful. Like,
Shame.
what is going on?
Shame.
For God's sake over there.
Shame.
Come on. Come on. Like, what?
Rough idea. Now, much of today's new information that I'm going to talk about comes from an interview published by Bethesda with Jamie Mallory.
I hope so,
And
Red.
one particularly interesting question about ship builds was
Right,
this.
man.
The question was, do you
So
have a
bad.
favourite project that you've worked on? And the answer to this, I'm going to read it out. One that stands out is StarField. The level of the team collaboration on that project was off the charts, especially when it came to Ship Builder. We had an amazing team with some developers who worked on the incredible snap maps in Doom 2016. We've got this massive list of exciting features we're looking forward to discussing and potentially implementing in the future. But shh, I can't spill all the details here. Just thinking about the possibilities gets my dopamine pumping. Now that's, well, it's very excitable phrasing, but it does seem to be a Jamie's style and it's pretty neat to read. But what it does suggest is that Bethesda
Right,
is
Aether,
talking about
right.
content that may be added.
I'm loving the comments today. The chat is on point today. The algorithms know what's up. Aether says it's especially disappointing because such a big component of Bethesda games is character development and story. You are dead on 110% correct, Aether. You're going to be staring at these models a lot. And you know what? I got to give it to them on environments. They updated it from the environments I initially saw on the trailers and all the pre-announcement material, and then I saw like upgrades to environment. It's like, man, why can't we do this on character models? Like, what is going on? We can fix the environments, but we can't put the same type of energy into the character modeling. This is absolutely beyond me. Bethesda should be ashamed of themselves for it. And, I'm seeing all these StarField videos about how great StarField's going to be, and I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure people will love it, right? But absolutely what Aether is saying is like the second you start looking at the character models, you're going to be thrown out. And I don't hear that from anybody that's creating any content out there. I'm not hearing that from anybody. I'm hearing that the models are not the greatest, but I'm not hearing people say how bad it is, and how it's going to throw you out of the experience. I'm not hearing that.
Into the game after its initial release. I'm specifically talking about this line. We've got this massive list of exciting features we're looking forward to discussing and potentially implementing in the future. And that seems to be in regards to a ship builder. So whatever we get initially, it seems it's not going to end there, as it is going to expand in the future. And don't forget that Bethesda have confirmed there will be a DLC, at least one piece of DLC for StarField, and that's going to be included with the deluxe version of the game. Now, talking of versions of the game, yesterday Microsoft confirmed that StarField is going to be an Xbox Play Anywhere title. And what that means if you purchase StarField from an
My God, man. Come on. I'm trying to be nice here and but come on. You gotta be pulling my leg on this stuff. I mean, come on.
Xbox Store from the Microsoft Store, you're going to get both the PC version and Xbox version of the game included. To further clarify that, what that means is whichever version of the game you buy, whichever platform you get it for, if you buy it for PC, you'll automatically get the Xbox included
I
for
have
free.
To, Mary.
If you buy it on
it's not the worst, but like I expect more from Bethesda, you know? It just looks dated. Mary's right. You know, Mary says, I have to say, I've seen worse in my time, and absolutely correct, Mary. You know, I've seen a lot worse. I'm trying to be fair here, Mary. I'm just kind of spoiled on the Star Citizen fidelity, you know? I'm coming from a very high bar in what I expect now. That the games are out there that give me the detail that I want and the character modeling that I want, that the games are out there and that I'm playing them. I have a really high bar right now, so I understand I'm probably coming off preachy and spoiled, and I don't apologize for it, by the way, because the technology is out there to do such, and this is now what I'm expecting from the gaming world. You know, when these developers are shooting, they need to go for the fences.
On Xbox, you'll automatically get the PC version included for free.
That Alien was kind of cool.
Further, Xbox Play Anywhere
cool.
also means that games have a cross-save. That means you'll be able to play on PC and then instantly pick up on Xbox and carry on from where you left off.
That's cool. That's cool.
Same save.
I like that.
Vice versa is also true. Unfortunately, this offer doesn't extend
Reeves?
to other stores, so if you're purchasing StarField over on Steam, you won't get the Xbox version included. This applies only to purchasing directly from a Microsoft-owned store. For many people, this may not matter. They may not care too much.
It is an
For a bunch of other people, though,
slightly.
I can see them now cancelling their pre-order over on Steam and instead picking it up over on Xbox or Microsoft. And also, don't forget...
Very good question. Red says, why... Red, we are spoiled. You know, when we're saying this, we're older gentlemen who are spoiled and have PCs. Fred Bear says, why would I play on a console if I have a PC?
that the game is going to be available on the Xbox Game Pass. Now, getting back to that interview, there was another nice new tidbit of information about a particular subject we haven't heard before.
I'm sure it'll be fun,
and this is
I'm
the
sure
subject of mission boards. So, very little on mission boards was actually confirmed beyond the fact that they do exist. Here is one quote. The mission boards also kept us on our toes, ensuring players had exciting challenges to tackle while exploring the cosmos. So the idea of mission boards would be new to a Bethesda single-player title. This wasn't available in the Elder Scrolls series, and I don't believe it was available in the Fallout series either. Now for me, this was a bit of an unexpected announcement, but it is a good one, I do believe that.
Did you see that last night with us, Mad Style? You were watching, didn't you? You saw our question shroud about Star Citizen? Oh, man. Listen, I'm sure this is going to be fun. I'm sure it'll be a fun title. And they've created so much character dialogue. NPC dialogue is off the charts, you know. I have to say, I'm impressed with them trying to script out these stories so that they're deeper and that there's much more options because it's replayable. The replayability is going to be, I think, off the chart compared to other Bethesda titles because of the amount of dialogue that they have with NPC characters. I saw that video a couple months ago. We watched it here on the morning show. I was very impressed by that. You know, so those are positives. However, it is slightly watered down now that I'm seeing all this content with AI in video games. I'm seeing AI basically be the content and nothing needs to be scripted. And I start to think that's the technology we want to shoot for. So because I'm starting to see this type of content land out there, it makes me think like, all the efforts that we're seeing here might be in vain. That technology is not going to get to where we want to see it for a very long time. But as we saw earlier in a Skyrim video from I Am Krusty, we saw the AI start to advance and learn in its situation and pick up its own personality. And that's exactly what that's what I want to see. I am, again, operating from a very high bar here. I understand this. I sound spoiled. I get it. But it's what I'm going to start expecting from the gaming world. If I don't start seeing that, I'm going to get upset and I'm not going to enjoy it as much because I see the content is out there and ready to go. And so I want to start seeing that being more incorporated into NPC interactions. What's up, Hawkeye? Mom and Zoe, welcome you to the fam. Good to see you, Hawkeye. Thanks for the follow, bro. We haven't had an action here in quite a while. I was starting to, I wasn't feeling any love for the longest time. I didn't realize till we saw an action there how very alone and I felt inside and very cold. Thank you for warming me up, Hawkeye.
After all, mission boards are something that are generally traditionally found in space games. We see them in Elite, pretty much all the versions of Elite all the way back, as well as really classic games such as Freelancer. But you can also find them in modern titles as well. They're not,
What's
of
up,
course,
Butts?
unique
Welcome
to
home,
space
bro.
games. For example, in
Honk
the
that
Monster
horn,
Hunter
buddy.
series, you have a whole bunch of boards there, which you can get the quests from. Red Dead Redemption 2 has the Bounty board. Assassin's Creed Odyssey has side quests and bounties. And let's not forget the contracts that can be collected from notice boards over in Witcher 3. All of these really do add a whole load of life, as well as nice content to those respective games. How it's going to work in StarField is certainly an open question. But what I'd like to see is missions which are dynamic and context sensitive to their respective environments. So it depends on which region and which faction-owned territory you are in, and this will determine some of the different missions you get. It's also an interesting thought to consider whether or not the mission boards in StarField will have procedurally generated missions. Let's assume for a moment that all the bulk of the main quests and side quests come from the in-game characters and other events, and that procedural missions come from mission boards. This would really add to the lifespan of the game, giving players additional things to do, even if those are fairly simplistic. Whichever way this goes, it sounds as though it could be a really nice addition. And also, of course, it does open up potential again for modders, a place where they can very easily inject missions and other activities directly into the game. Now,
which is a huge plus and why I love Bethesda titles. The modding communities are absolutely fantastic.
Moving on, talking about modders and other third-party developers and programmers, people who just love to mess around with games, we've got a fantastic StarField map. The map is called StarField Navigator, and it's available on the website linked in the video description, and essentially it seems to map out all the stars and their location that are available in StarField.
Looks very Elite Dangerous.
Now, the developers of the website say that this isn't going to be 100% accurate, because pretty much it's impossible to do that without direct access to the game.
Also looks very Star Citizen. It's like a Star Citizen Elite Dangerous hybrid, you know what I mean?
What they've done is used footage that's been available in both showcases, the ones from 2022 and 2023, and then extrapolated that to determine what type of star systems, what number of star systems may be available within StarField. They've also done this with the assistance of real-world star catalogues. So as you can see on screen, this really does give an indication of just how big the world of StarField is going to be.
What's up, Luigi?
Of course, it's nothing compared to the scale of something like Elite Dangerous or No Man's Sky. However, it's clear it is very, very big, and sometimes being smaller and far more focused is much better than being very, very broad, massive, and entirely unfocused. Now, we know from the StarField showcases that the game is set in the Milky Way. Specifically, it's centered around the solar system. So, yes, Earth and all the planets within our star system are available within the game. In fact, there's even footage of people walking around on Mercury, the Moon, and other such locations within our star system. And if we zoom out to other locations, other star systems within the game.
Yeah, the one thing I don't like is that it's very arcadey. Like I saw the battle in space. It looks very arcadey shooter, and that's okay. I mean, like, you know, it doesn't. I like my realism. I mean, it looks cool in the cockpit, but it like I feel like the actual experience of combat is more arcade shooter style. Also, I don't like the fact that there's cutscenes. I am spoiled now. I do like planetary landings with no cutscenes now. Star Citizen has done that for me as a major technological feat. I would say a very focused determination by the developers over at Cloud Imperium to give us that experience, if I might say so myself. So very broad ranging, but also it has to be for what it is that people want from it, which is the everything game.
We can see that I'm
not big on cutscenes anymore, you know.
As well as
I'm not a fan of cutscenes anymore.
In my opinion, then,
never
seeing
was.
It all laid out like
Except
this,
in the 90s.
100 different star systems, it does look suitably impressive. Aside from trying out the various different activities that StarField is going to offer, in addition to its various quests, the main one included, the thing I'm perhaps looking forward to the most is exploring. That is, exploration of space and the stars, but also exploring the various worlds and moons that the game has to offer. We know that many of these are going to be barren. As many as 90% may be completely empty and lifeless, containing just a resource.
I have to question that man's choice in tattoo.
As many as
what's going on with this guy here, man? What is going on here, man? This guy's not getting any dates.
Descent may be completely empty and lifeless, containing just resources, but it's also possible that they will nonetheless contain some interesting scenery. Exploring the other planets, though, that are full of life, both flora and fauna, this should be extremely interesting. Around about 10% of the worlds are going to have life. That means roughly 100 different planets. At any rate, do check out that link in the video description where you can see this
the
star map
environments
for
and the
yourself.
ships look good.
That brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.
Nice little warp scene. Like, listen, I'm sure it's going to have its positives. I'm sure it's going to give hours and hours of fun. I'm sure there's going to be a crazy cool modding community. I'm not trying to put it down. I know that a lot of people, when they watch me, they think I'm like, oh, super white knight, Star Citizen guy. Man, I've been following games for like 15, 20 years at least. And, I'm always super critical. And I'm always looking at these things to get my best experience. I'm a gamer. I want to have some fun, but I also like to come from it from the developer side of things. What is their vision? What are they trying to achieve? What is it that we're going to get? Take a game like Star Citizen with such a big scope, it's going to take a long time, and kiddos really can't wrap their heads around the fact that what they're trying to achieve has never been done before. When you talk about it in that light, people can easily put me into a white knight category, and I understand that. I'm making myself vulnerable to that line of attack, to that line of thinking, but I'm a dreamer. I like imagination. I want a game to give me an everything experience, and I think a lot of people that are behind Star Citizen are very like-minded in terms of what it is that we're looking for, and it is truly a game that is going to change the entire industry. And if it takes forever to get there, so be it, because I am interested in seeing it happen, and it's going to take a long time. Games like this, hey, of course, they're a little bit more myopic, like game's going to come out faster. It's not giving you everything. It's giving you some things. It's understandable why these games come out faster. Now, StarField has taken a long time too. StarField's taken quite a long time. So, it's to me, when I hear the argument of, Star Citizen versus StarField versus No Man's Sky versus Elite Dangerous, all these games are different in what they're offering in their visions by the creators, by the people creating it. It's kind of silly when you're doing these, and I'm guilty of it too. I've done Star Citizen versus Elite Dangerous. I've done all these titles, but then when you click into the video, I'm talking about it in this manner. So anyhow, very cool information. I am actually looking very much forward to what we're going to see from the ship builder. I think that's cool. So there's a lot of cool things about StarField that I do like. So for people that get upset at me and think that, oh, I'm making this a Star Citizen versus StarField thing, it's ridiculous. I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer first and foremost.